Hello and welcome to this edition of Jamaica Magazine. In this aftermath of Hurricane Beryl, I do hope that all is well. Remember that we're still in the hurricane season and that we are to take every precaution necessary for whatever may lie ahead. We want to say to our neighbors at home and those in the Caribbean who've been directly impacted that our prayers are with you. Speaking of our neighbors, know that prayers are well and good, but do take it a step further and give them a call. Better yet, stop by to see how they are doing. At this time, we need each other more than ever. More after these messages.
Check on your strong friends. Having gone through postpartum depression after having my daughter, I know what mental illness can be like.
You may be the one to provide someone with a haven.
Very much true, because like she said, you don't know what people are going through. It's also important to know within yourself what's going on, because you yourself know you better than anyone else can possibly know you.
Being able to be your true self is one of the strongest components of good mental health. You can whisper how you feel, or you can shout it out loud, but in whatever you do, if you need help, say something.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the show that gives you information on the latest topics. I'm Theodore Henry. Whether we're experiencing a hurricane or not, the National Works Agency plays a crucial role in ensuring that the country's infrastructure and communities are prepared for potential disasters. Today we delve into the strategies, the preparations, and the post-hurricane efforts that the NWA employs to safeguard Jamaica's resilience and recovery. Joining me now is Stephen Shaw, Manager of Communications and Customer Service at the National Works Agency. Sir Stephen, greetings.
Blessings.
All right, let's jump into getting some facts. Everybody's thinking about Beryl. There has been a collective sigh of relief that we didn't have the worst of it, as far as some people see, but you have a better view than the rest of us. So tell us, what's the damage like?
Well, I agree with most Jamaicans that we were spared significant damage. What we have seen are a lot of impact in relation to downed trees and power lines.
Right.
Those in the main are what we have had to respond to in the over 250 and climbing reports that we have received, impacting some 200 roads. We have been able to respond and have been able to get persons moving about the country once more.
Right.
Thankfully, we didn't suffer any great damage to any retaining structures, any bridges, road embankments being torn away and that kind of a thing. And so we are very thankful. It's pretty easy to go in and have trees cut, heavy equipment, load them onto a truck and then remove them so that persons will have access to roads. Some roads were rendered impassable, others were impacted in terms of a single lane fashion, but we're thankful.
All right. I know that this also might be something that's very interesting for our viewers. How does the NWA prioritize where it gets the resources and restoration first?
All right. So there's a standard plan that we function through or by. Where you have roads that lead to critical installations, we try to ensure that those are treated as priority. So the roads that lead to the seaports, the airports, roads that lead to hospitals, community centers, health centers,
Right.
roads that lead to JPSCO and NWC installations, police stations. We want to ensure that those are accessible,
Right.
because those are critical service centers, and there are personnel at these locations that require our movement for them to be able to move.
Right. Because even with the restoration, which I'm going to ask you about now, because NWA doesn't do everything themselves. It's done hand in hand with this and that agency.
Entity, yes.
Right. So give us a sense of how the plans and the preparations, what plans and preparations are in place for post-hurricane recovery.
All right. So there is a national disaster committee that the NWA is a part of.
Right.
And so when the committee kicks in terms of goes into effect, all critical stakeholders sit in the room,
Right.
and so whatever information there is shared right across the board.
I have to
So
ask,
it is
critical stakeholders like who?
fire,
Right.
police, the army, the Ministry of Health,
Right.
Ministry of Local Government, all critical players in the country's
Understood.
recovery efforts.
Right.
And so we share information, and where it is that we need to move as an agency, then of course the information is there and we act accordingly. Critically, we engage our stakeholders in the form of contractors who own heavy equipment that we rely on to be able to move quickly,
Right.
to clear roads, to clear drains, to go into riverbeds and so on. Because, it's one thing to have the plan, it's another thing to have it executed and executed well.
Very true.
So that persons are satisfied.
Yes.
And so it's a lot of moving parts that we have to be able to bring together to ensure that at the end of the day, the country's business continues interrupted, but for not too long.
Right. Because we want that restoration to get started almost immediately afterwards.
There you go.
Right. And what measures do the NWA put in place to ensure the safety of citizens, though? We've been talking about infrastructure. What about citizens?
Well, in terms of, in the context of disaster, because we're speaking about Beryl.
Right.
One of the critical things that we do is that we communicate. We say to persons, we pretty much know the lay of the land. We know where we tend to have issues of landslides. We tend to have flooding. We tend to have rock falls.
Right.
And so you'll see traveling around Jamaica, for example, areas where signs are erected saying falling rocks. We have worked with the Ministry of Local Government and the municipal corporations to erect signs, flood gauges, and ODPM2 involved. So you have an idea as to where it is that is low-lying, and where you once you see floodwaters reaching a certain level,
Right.
you should not venture. And so we encourage persons to follow our lead, to heed the warnings, not only by the NWA, but when they get it from the police and other responsible organizations. And so that goes into that's part of our preparatory steps. We also, where necessary, we may pre-position equipment at certain locations,
Right.
to be able to respond quicker
Right.
to situations. Because, and it's not just equipment, but personnel. So having, because you can have the equipment on the location, but then you don't have an operator.
That is so true.
Doesn't help you.
I have to break you right now. This is fascinating, because we also need to talk about during the hurricane itself. But we're going to go to a break right now. The discussion will continue with Stephen Shaw, Manager of Communications and Customer Service at the National Works Agency, NWA. Please stay with us. back. We're still talking with Stephen Shaw, the Manager of Communications and Customer Service at the National Works Agency, NWA. We're discussing the strategies, the preparations, the post-hurricane efforts that the NWA employs to safeguard Jamaica's resilience and recovery. Now, Sir Shaw, picking up from where we broke, you were talking about the preparatory work, but I also know that NWA communicates during the event itself, because a road might be flooded, for example, don't it?
Yes.
So what channels are we?
All right, so we use free-to-air media, and we have gone onto the social media network.
Yes, sir.
And so we use our Instagram handle, we use Twitter now, X, very well as well. And we also, engage, as I said, the other persons in the communities through WhatsApp groups, say, to try and get the information to as wide a population as possible.
So some of those WhatsApp forwarded messages is on where it coming from? Or it started, I don't know.
It may very well be.
Okay.
But we are very careful with some of those, because persons may very well edit and
True.
mislead.
True.
So we prefer if persons follow us and be able to then share our story,
Right.
in that way.
From the source itself.
Yes.
But so we're talking about using the advancements in social media, digital media. But from past hurricane seasons, what have we learned, and what advancements in technology in terms of building, roadwork, preparation is the NWA now employing?
Well, because of the way where we are situated, and the kinds of impact that we'd have seen over the years, when we are building out infrastructure,
yes,
we take those things into consideration. So where, for example, we may put, let us say, a 2-foot culvert. We, rather than putting a 2-foot, we decide to put 3.
Okay.
Or where we might have put a cylindrical culvert, we may decide to put a box.
Difference between flooding and...
Because then what you're seeking to do, or what we seek to do, is to build a greater amount of resilience into the network.
Yes.
Because it doesn't necessarily mean, that you're gonna you get an event, your road will not flood.
Right.
What it means is that so soon after the flooding or the event has passed, the flood waters recede, it's easier for you to go in and clean up, because there is some resilience in your network.
Understood.
It won't rip up everything, and you have to go back from ground zero.
Right.
To build.
Rebuild the whole
You understand?
thing.
If you have, let us say, when Gustav impacted Jamaica in 2008, the Bogwalk Gorge was left impassable for an extended period. One of the decisions that we took was to put concrete as part of the road inside there.
Right.
We have had a couple more events subsequent to that.
Yeah, we have.
The water flowing well above the road. And we have not really had that kind of damage, because, again, resilience was built into the network there, given the experience coming out of Tropical Storm Gustav.
I noticed you snuck a success story in there. I'm happy to hear that one. But looking ahead, what are some of the NWA's key priorities in continuing the growth towards resilience?
Well, we have to ensure that we continue to build out our main road network. We have to, where possible, lift roads out of some of the low areas that they're in.
Lift them?
Yeah, man, lift them, because sometimes a road might have been built in a basin. Or you have embankments on the other side and the road is lower than the embankment.
Okay.
And so in order to try and reduce the incidence of flooding, you lift the road, and so either you lift it to the level of the embankment or higher than the embankment, so the water stays out.
Understood.
We have to do that. We have to engage people more for them to own the roads when we rehabilitate them. When you own it, you take better care of it. Okay. And it's not dissimilar from owning a motor vehicle or the shirt or the pants or the jacket that you wear.
All right.
You own it, you're gonna take care of it.
Yeah.
If you own the road,
tell me how that works.
You're not, if you see yourself as a part owner in this road, you're not going to dig it up. You're not going to dump stuff on the side of the road and leave it for an extended period.
Right.
When it rains, the water come and you have fissures in the road, and then it starts to deteriorate.
Okay.
And before long, you have no road, and then you start to cry, government not fixing the road, and so on and so forth.
Right.
When you have a stake in it, you won't block the drains. You won't set fire to some of the areas. Might have been inadvertent. We saw the report in Montego Bay where the fire truck got stuck in an area that they responded to when the drain was there was a fire in a drain because somebody decided to light some garbage
in the drain.
In the drain, but then the drain was made from plastic pipes.
Wow. Okay.
So it burnt the plastic, and we have been saying in a lot of rural areas, you find persons using drains as garbage receptacles, and then they burn the garbage, burning the culverts from beneath the road.
Understood.
Those kind of things, when you own it, you ain't gonna do that.
Understood. You almost started preaching there. We're in the final few seconds of the interview. I need advice. Their guests are watching, our business owners, people from the communities, people who you want to be owning roads are watching. Give us some final advice in the last few seconds.
Well, as I said, if you own something, you take care of it. We're spending billions of dollars in rehabilitating roads. When you are doing certain things, whether it is you're doing your construction activities, you're doing your farming, you want to ensure that you help us to put you in a position to be able to move better, because if you do things which are wrong as it relates to maintaining the infrastructure, then we all will suffer.
The call is to own your roads as the NWA does what they do from the national level. And that's all the time we have for today. We've been having a discussion with Stephen Shaw, the Manager of Communications and Customer Service at the National Works Agency. And this has been Get the Facts. And I'm your host, Theodore Henry. Until next time, stay safe and remember to take the necessary precautionary measures to protect you and your loved ones throughout the hurricane season.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash, no paper, no dash, no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
eat. Island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
No doubt that after this past week, some of us are still in cleanup mode, doing all that you can to get back on track. For those of us who may not have been impacted in that way, how about we help someone else? You can organize groups, speak to the relevant authorities, and clean up a school, a park, or a beloved beach. Here's more.
Our team and also Circle K International, we're doing a beach cleanup, and that's our passion is the ocean. So we are here picking up as much garbage as we can with a small group, and so far we have gotten 211 pounds of rubbish and 3 bags of plastic bottles for Recycle Partners of Jamaica. We are very grateful for this small but effective initiative, and we're just encouraging persons to go out and do something for the environment today.
Here to serve at the old hospital beach, and we came with the Montego Bay Marine Park. And in light of Environment Day and World Ocean Day, we also wanted to join with them just to take up some plastic, some garbage, because we know these are affecting our environment. If you look at the North Gully and stuff that is coming into the ocean, we see that we need to take initiative to protect our environment.
We choose to do this in this area to keep Montego Bay clean, to keep this section of St. James pristine. It's something we do every year. We have lots of organizations joining us each year, and this year is no exception, even with the pandemic. We know this area is heavily used by Montegonians, and we like to keep it clean and pristine.
When we do our cleanups, trust me, the top thing that we always find is plastic bottles. Plastic is really everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. Just going along the shoreline, you'll encounter plastic. Going onto the beaches for just swimming or snorkeling, you'll encounter plastic. And even when we go diving deep down 100 and odd feet, you're still finding plastic. So it's just everywhere. And it's a big concern for us. So this initiative is really what we want to push to get the plastic out of the environment, and that's what we aim to do.
If you come to the beaches, you see all these plastics and the water looks so dirty and all of that. So we want to take the initiative to protect our marine life, because sometimes we don't have enough fish and the fishes are being affected and so forth. So we just want to take the initiative to maintain our marine life. As you know, the coral reefs are being affected as well.
I'm here today to help to contribute to resolving an issue which we are all plagued with. There is a grave problem with our climate and our environment. And first and foremost, I'd like to thank the Montego Bay Marine Park and the UTEC family for coming out and launching such a wonderful initiative.
So persons may be wondering, what do we do at the Montego Bay Marine Park? Our main aim, our core mandate is really to protect and care and preserve the environment. So what we do on a daily basis is we patrol and care for the protected area, because the Montego Bay Marine Park is actually a protected area. We manage 2 protected areas, the airport fish sanctuary and also the Bogue Lagoons. So we monitor those and ensure that no fishing within the no restricted zones. We also have a very active education program in which we go into schools. I mean, pre-COVID, we used to be up and about in schools and communities, educating them about the environment and best practices. And then we also have the scientific department in which we monitor the water system and whatever is going on in our environment. So that's really the core of what the Montego Bay Marine Park is about.
So you today or tomorrow or whenever in the future, make sure you take up a plastic bottle if you come on the beach or anywhere you go.
Please remember to use up those recycle bins. Try to build up that plastic bag with plastic bottles and try to recycle it.
I encourage all persons within the island to do their best, play their part, and ensure that their shorelines are kept clean, not only the beaches, but the rivers and communities as well. After all, it's our environment, Jamaica, and we should take care of it.
An average 400 years for plastic bottles to decompose. That's not in our lifetime. So most likely our grandparents' plastic is somewhere in the environment, right? So if we can do something about that right now, even a micro effort is so very important for a mega effective stake on the environment. So do your part, remove the plastic today so it doesn't linger on for generations to come and end up in the ocean, killing marine life and even ending up back on our plate. Because when the plastic don't break down immediately, they might break into what we call microplastic, and fish and the filter feeders such as our shrimp and lobsters might consume those, and eventually we are the one consuming those marine animals, and then we get sick or we ended up eating plastic.
Water is precious. So we encourage everyone to practice the 4 R's of water conservation. Always remember to reduce your use of water wherever possible. Replace water wasting devices with water savings devices. Reuse water wherever possible. And wherever leaks are found, please repair them and repair them quickly.
Don't delay. Practice the 4 R's of water conservation today.
It was Mark Twain who said, "Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear." We may find it difficult at times, but not when we know that overcoming is our only option. And with that, we've come to the end of today's show. To catch a repeat of this or any other, feel free to log on to our website, jis.gov.jm. Until next time, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Walk good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.